Sports Extra Time once again with Packers Hall of Famer Larry McCarren. And Larry, I thought we would be doing this a lot longer. Fortunately, the season is over. Your assessment as you look at it early on.
Well, when you assess a season, it's hard to get past the way it ended. I thought the team was designed from the get-go to get stronger as the year went on. I mean, Mike McCarthy invested in the running game even when it wasn't productive. He invested a lot of energy in playing young guys, especially on the defensive side of the ball, so they would be playing their best at the end. And by golly, we got out in San Francisco and got it handed to us.
Defensively, a lot of the ire is that direction from the fans. Dom Capers, he's been in this league a long time, Larry, as a defensive coordinator. He knows what he's doing. Do you make a change there, or what do you think of that whole situation?
Well, if you're asking me, I would say you don't make a change because a week ago we were talking about the genius Dom Capers, who had a defense that came into the season after a year where they finished dead last and brought it up to 11th with a lot of injuries and a lot of young guys playing. And we're saying, boy, this guy is really doing a great job. And then the defense laid an enormous egg in San Francisco. No question about it. Couldn't have played any worse. And I think you got to step back and take a look at the big picture. And I'm sure Mike McCarthy and Ted Thompson will do that. But looking at the big picture, the guy's a really good football coach. In fact, you might say an excellent football coach. And his guys just didn't play very well against the 49ers Saturday night. And usually when a performance like that occurs, the plan wasn't real swell, and that's on the coaches, but the execution was just as bad. So it was a collective effort.
Packers overcame injuries in 2010 and won the Super Bowl, and I'll have self-criticism of me, basically, by saying Desmond Bishop.
You're too hard on yourself.
I am. I'm just beating myself up.
I've always said that about you. Come on.
Thank you, Larry. I'll try to pick myself up.
Yeah.
Be more optimistic about it.
You're okay. We're okay. All right.
Doggone it, people like us, Larry. Kind of like Stuart Smalley.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, Desmond Bishop and DJ Smith, at the time, you're kind of thinking, oh, they can overcome those injuries. It just kind of seemed like they didn't have those ball hawks, those guys that got after the football. Those guys.
Well, in DJ Smith's case, I thought Brad Jones was fairly similar, an athletic type linebacker. Mm-hmm. However, when it comes to Desmond Bishop, if you look at the Packer defense, there's a lot of athletes over there, and you're getting away from the three defensive linemen who are big physical guys. But outside of that, the other eight, pretty athletic, and I wouldn't necessarily say tremendously physical, but Desmond Bishop is one of those bad medicine guys. I mean, he will put the wood to you big time, and he's one of those guys that likes, I don't know where they find these guys, he likes to hit. And he likes to hit the guys in the opposing color. And it's interesting, when you lose a guy like that, you lose a physical element to your defense. And I think that's something the Packer defense, quite frankly, could use more of.
No doubt about it, guys that can definitely hit. And the other thing is, we've seen the Wildcat come into the league recently, the no huddle. Is the read option the flavor of the month, or with all these ultra-athletic quarterbacks, is that going to be something that the Packers are going to have to prepare for in the future?
Well, football coaches are great copycats. Something works for somebody and that team is successful, you're going to see it all over the league. However, you do need a special athlete at the quarterback position to make it successful. And Colin Kaepernick is one of those special athletes. But I think when teams are blessed with a quarterback that has speed and something helps Kaepernick, he's got experience with that play. But I think teams of that ilk that do have that athlete at quarterback, I'll be looking at that thing, because there were times in the Packers game Saturday night where the Packers didn't have either option covered very well. If they handed it to the running back, he was going a long way, and most of the time Kaepernick kept it, and he went a long way. I mean, setting all kinds of records rushing for a quarterback. So long story short, yeah, I think you're going to see more of it. It was successful, and it was successful on a big stage.
Back up Larry's point, 178 of 181 yards by Kaepernick was before contact. So obviously he was going downfield at a pretty furious pace without even getting touched. Final thing, Larry, we've talked so much about the defense because of what recently happened, but the offense, you're not probably going to have Greg Jennings here. Donald Driver more than likely retires. Jermichael Finley, seems like Mike McCarthy says he's matured late in the year, but there will be changes on offense.
Yeah, and you can't minimize the loss of a Greg Jennings, special player. Between him and Randall Cobb, I don't know who I would say has the greatest knack for making that first guy miss. They're both extraordinary at it, but that is the one area where the Packers have quality depth. And it's the one area where you can't have everybody as much as you like. You can't have everybody, and they can afford to let a player the caliber of Jennings go and still keep their salary cap in order. But you go back and you got James Jones coming off a career year, Jordy Nelson, excellent football player, Randall Cobb. I mean, he's a big play, always waiting to happen. And when you have those, and then you mentioned Jermichael Finley a minute ago. I mean, you got some special talent out there. So if you got to save some money in the bank account, it's the one area they can afford to.
Larry, it's the Packers offseason in name only. I'm sure there's never an offseason, so we'll be talking to you sooner rather than later.
Well, we'll look forward to that then, Lance. Thanks for having me. I always appreciate it.
No problem,
Keeping
Larry.
me off the streets.
Oh, Larry, we love keeping you employed and keeping you busy. All right. For Sports Extra, Larry McCarren, Lance Allen.